This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. We all know that you get free shipping on millions of products with Amazon Prime, but you get a whole lot more. Like free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, plus a whole lot more. We've got links to all of these features and some of our favorites, plus a 30-day free trial, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. Over the last year or so, we have seen a lot of media companies, whether it be Netflix or Disney or WB, Paramount, cancel shows and movies that were far into production, sometimes completed, sometimes already out in the wild. Oftentimes it has been for tax reasons. Disney famously cut a bunch of stuff from Hulu and Disney Plus a couple months back. Netflix has done it as well. Paramount Plus cut some stuff. And then there's what happened at Warner Brothers. And there's been a lot of questions over what exactly was going on, in particular with Batgirl. We talked about this several months ago. The movie was fully filmed and edited. Post-production had not been done. And it was shelved indefinitely. The movie was canceled, not going to come out. They said bad test screenings, which is an interesting and vague way of dealing with it. And there's mostly not been any response since. Until now. There have been two different comments from two different people regarding the cancellation of Batgirl. The first is, well, I guess the second is the first is Peter Safran, who is the co-head of DC Studios, who said fully outright, this movie was unreleasable. Now that's a big statement, right? Lots of bad movies have been released to the public. We see it happen all the time. But Safran went so far as to say, where is it? I think they really stood up to support DC, the characters, the story, the quality, and all that. I actually think that Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, and the team made a very bold and courageous decision to cancel it because it would have hurt DC. It would have hurt the people involved. And he went on to say that actors, writers, producers, everybody involved would have had their careers damaged by the release of this film. Now, I mean...
Have they not seen the other movie?
That may be a factor into this statement, for all we know. It may have been so bad that it made the other ones look like shining stars. Which is a frightening prospect.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. If it were the only time such a thing happened, then I'd believe them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. Also, if there was a problem, they could have fixed it, right? I mean, they could have done some reshoots, or they didn't even finish the special effects. So
potentially. Though some of the comments from internal said that the script was a mess right from the beginning, and that the film was.
Why'd they let it film then?
because it was a different group of people in charge. All of this
Yeah,
happened.
okay. So in other words,
All of this happened in the
disrespect of
transition from Warner Media to Warner Brothers Discovery, and from the former DC Studios to the new pair running it. So it was different decision makers.
right. But here's but it seemed, I don't know. I'm very, very skeptical of this. I'm very skeptical of this story. It just doesn't add up for me. I mean, yeah, I suppose they were concerned that, like, hey, we're gonna have a bad movie, but on the other hand, they've trashed a lot of they trashed like a lot of other movies and other projects too. So this is the most flagrant of them, but then they pulled some other things off that
Sure.
were on. So I'm not convinced at all that this is, like, the fact that they're saving money on it, like, is
Yeah.
really suspect to me. I think, there's been, now I have to tell you, like, this kind of, like, we can pull the content at any time
Uh-huh.
really motivated me to do something yesterday. So Batgirl was on my mind yesterday.
Okay.
What did they? Wasn't there some study the other day that I didn't make any sense, that, like, the average man thinks about the Roman Empire 3 times a week.
Yep.
I don't. I never, almost never think. I'm sorry. I almost never think about the Roman Empire. I don't know what it says about me, but I mean, maybe I think about things that are come out of the Roman Empire, but the result of the Roman Empire. But anyway, so I'm not sitting there every day being like, oh, should I have another Diet Coke, or should I think about a Centurion? Anyway, but or whether, Augustus or Octavius was better. But the but I do think about Batgirl periodically, because, I'll start thinking, like, if there's something I want to see on streaming, I better see it now, because who knows if they're going to yank it at some point.
Uh-huh.
So yesterday I was sitting with my wife, and we had talked about, like, we wanted to watch Blue Beetle, which is now on Max, and I said, we better watch it now, because who knows if they're going to pull it down at some point. Not that I have any information to suggest that they will,
Right.
but who knows. So I better watch the Blue Beetle right now, just in case.
Yeah.
Because I understand there were some other movies that have been out for a while. There was some, like, I forget, some type of, like, not Dungeons and Dragons, but, like, dungeon fantasy type movie that has been pulled down forever. There are a whole bunch of movies that have come out, been on streaming, and been pulled down forever. So all that we have left of them is someone's memory of having watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I think is a terrible tax loophole and should be eliminated.
Closed.
But yes, I'm sorry, should be closed, because, like, clearly this isn't the reason why you allow people to write losses off, so they could basically set an insurance fire to get rid of something that's a loss. But
Yeah.
So I think if it weren't part of a larger pattern, I could sooner believe that.
Yeah.
But because there's such a big pattern of it, I don't believe it.
And so it's interesting that you say that. So, unrelated to this story, a couple of weeks ago, like 2.5 weeks ago, Christopher Nolan said, if you enjoyed Oppenheimer, buy it on Blu-ray, because you never know when it'll get yanked from streaming.
Right. Exactly. He's right. I mean, there's yanked and there's yanked too, right? Like, there's things that
there's switching from
they're
Netflix to Peacock, but then there's this series is gone forever. The Captain Janeway animated series, that was That was
Right.
a Paramount Plus exclusive. Is gone.
Prodigy.
Yeah, Prodigy. It's gone.
Right. Right. Now, maybe someday someone will get it back, but yeah, like if you didn't, you had your chance to watch it, you better. So, yeah, there's a really good argument. And it's funny because Best Buy, what is it? Best Buy announced that they're getting out of the physical media business. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that means that Amazon's going to stop selling physical media and companies are going to stop producing physical media.
Right.
But yeah, you kind of gonna need physical media to uh, preserve movies.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
and to preserve them the original way, right? Because
too,
that
yes, they might end up like
what
Star Wars too, right?
well, I was so Star Wars, great example. Watching Family Guy again on Hulu, background noise, right? There was an episode that I have seen or heard. I don't want to say how many times is likely, because it's beyond unhealthy. But the the point is, there was a song in it that didn't used to be there.
What? Oh,
Yep.
because of rights?
No, they added a scene. They added a song to the episode that didn't used to be there.
Why?
There is a joke from The Office. A particular joke that I look for whenever I go back through that one. This last time, joke's gone. So you literally have to preserve it in its original format because they're adjusting published stuff on the fly. Episodes of The Office. That show hasn't even been on for a decade. And yet they're
Yeah,
making
yeah,
changes to it.
yeah. No question about it. So you need to get. It's a problem. I remember, I believe we talked about on a show a long time ago how Kindle had pulled some, like Amazon had pulled some titles people had bought.
Yeah.
Was it they bought a copy of 1984 and it was pulled off
It was
or something
Kindle.
like that?
It was Kindle and Amazon Prime Video. It was video purchases, whole movies.
Right. So, in other words, you need physical media also because if you buy something,
Hmm.
if you buy something digitally, you may not even get to keep it.
Yep. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So the cloud is not forever. The cloud is subject to rights issues and things like that. So
Yep.
yeah, I really um I think it's a real problem.
Yeah. And kind of all of that
So
culminates here, right? Because these films were canceled for tax reasons. Prodigy was dumped for tax reasons. Now, that's not the reason why there's a new song in Family Guy and a missing joke from The Office, but but you mentioned Star Wars. It's the most famous example of somebody tweaking existing content to an
but
extent
not the
where it's
only one by
almost
far.
almost unrecognizable. But it certainly like put it into the cultural zeitgeist that this happens. This is going to happen, and now it happens constantly. So yeah, physical media is the only way to ensure that you keep things as they were. Because, like you mentioned, sometimes it's just rights changes to a song. The the opening song of season two's premiere of Sports Night, if you watch it in streaming today, is not what it was when it was on television because they've lost the rights to the song.
Yeah.
So, it's a weird little change, and it's the kind of thing that most people would probably never notice, but I have problems, and It was the first thing I noticed when the episode started. There's a song in Heroes, I think, that has changed since published. There's all kinds of this. So, yeah. If you liked it the way the directors and producers planned it, the only way to keep it is physical media. And we almost certainly have to deal with this tax loophole. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.